Happy Spiritual Sunday to you all, and welcome back for another event. Awakening consciousness, inspiration, and the Kabbalistic Zoharic tools and technology, how to achieve our goal, to achieve what we came here to do, to achieve our objective. And so let's start out. Of course, no coincidence, today we're talking about immortality, and Karen's giving us a little hint from her book, Simple Light. And Karen writes like this: Kabbalah teaches that to have balance, and if you think balance in the long term is not just short term, balance is really immortality, to live forever, that there's no ups and downs or chaos called pain, suffering, and death. Kabbalah teaches that to have balance, we need to connect to the three-column system of right, left, and central columns. And if you're not familiar, go on Kabbalah.com, look it up, and or talk to your teachers. Sometimes the idea of balance is very difficult because although we are part of creation and have the light of God within us, our insecurities and feelings of inferiority get in the way. They cause us to move away from the Creator's great intentions for us, because we feel unworthy of attaining those goals. When we find ourselves with this mindset, we must share our light, and that will bring us balance. And sharing the light is what we speak about, the essence of what we speak about in the center, in all the classes, and here on Spiritual Sunday. So, to help strengthen and awaken that consciousness of sharing, we have every week, as we're about to do, our affirmation. So it's just to constantly empower the truth over and over and over again, so we will no longer give in to that AI program that we put in our heads that's tempting us to stay in the darkness and the chaos, as Karen said, by feelings of insecurity and or superiority or jealousy or ego. So let's say it together. Consciousness is everything. I raise my consciousness today to see the miracles and wonders of life. I commit myself to behave with greater love, compassion, and kindness towards all human beings. And so, just on a particular note, and I know in the future when you'll be watching this, it won't be particularly this night, but for those of us who are live today, tonight, Sunday night through Monday evening, is what's known as Shavuot. It's the night of immortality. It's the night of this Mount Sinai revelation of ultimately all the light in the universe. And it was the first time in human existence that all the world, even though there were some of us on Mount Sinai, if you will, broadcasting, but we broadcast to every human being on earth, the spiritual technology. And just to remind us, that comes in the coded level, the coded essence in what we call the 5 books of Moses, but it was also the Zohar that was given, not in its written form, but was given, as they call it, orally to Moses and all of us on Mount Sinai. Just as a child is born in the world, comes the body, but the body is the carrier for the soul. The body is the external coded part, if you will, of the nature of the soul inside. And so too Mount Sinai, if you will, was the birth for all humanity of the revelation, the awakening inside every person of, if you will, the body, essence, and the soul of our existence in this world and achieving our purpose. We are here to live from the soul, be guided only from the soul, which is the piece of the Creator in us, but through the vehicle of the body. The body is not meant to control us. We'll talk about that shortly also. It's meant just to be like your car. You get in your car, the car is not you. You're inside the car driving the vehicle where you want it to go. from home to work, work shopping, wherever it is. You've already decided. The car is just the means by which you get there. But it's your thought, your desire, your destination that determines where the car will go. Okay, so yes, tonight is the connection to that particular day, but as we'll talk about from this point forward, every day is an opportunity for all humanity to have immortality. Now, what is immortality? Simple, eternal life. But not just eternal existence, it's eternal good life, no death, and on our sort of personal microscopic or microcosmic level, no end to happiness, peace, health, love, kindness, prosperity, guidance, all the blessings of the light. That's also immortality, that there's no end to the light and the blessings of the light in our life. Now, the event of Mount Sinai, the event of the historical event that took place is to show us what spiritual energy was in existence and they were making use of. And so what you and I learn here in the center, in Kabbalah, in the Kabbalah Center, and what we teach on Spiritual Sunday, based on those teachings of Rav Ashlag, Rav Brandwein, to the Rav and Karen Berg, to now Michael and Monica Berg. So let's dig in, and I want to show you the bigger perspective from the origin of us in this world. Adam and Eve. We talk about it often, we mention it, that there was only one soul that came out of the endless world, then it was split by the code in Genesis, it tells us, then it was split into these two beings, Adam and Eve. Well, Adam and Eve, in essence, were immortal. At that moment, they were immortal because they were pure light beings, came out of the endless world. There was only light. But then came what we like to call the mistake we made. Because sin has a completely different, unfortunately, connotation to it. We made a mistake. What? We listened to what's called the snake. As you and I speak about it, the AI program that's in our own heads that taunts us to not express our God-like essence, our God-like nature, to not shine the light out into the world, but try and get things from the outside into our life. So we listen to that opponent, and this is important for the rest of this lesson, in the 6 hours between cosmically when that first being came into the world, for the next 6 hours, which at the end of the 6 hours would have been the manifestation, the, if you will, solidifying in physical terms, heaven on earth forever. In those 6 hours, we, because we were all part of Adam and Eve, there was only one being split. So in essence, half of us today were in the being of Eve and half of us were in the being of Adam. We, with the temptation of that opponent, that self-centeredness, we chose the tree of knowledge, good and evil, chaos, confusion, light and darkness, up and down, chaos and order, health and sickness, prosperity and poverty, all those various good and bads. We chose that over the tree of life, which is just pure eternal light. And at that moment, we brought death, pain, suffering, and chaos into the world. We, by in essence, disconnecting from the infinite light of the Creator. We were only here to shine the infinite light of the Creator and have eternal bliss. Well, we disconnected. So over the next about 2,300 years, humanity, with the help of the great sages, the great Kabbalists, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, etc., were able to correct, to purify, if you will, the negativity that we took upon ourselves by that mistake in the Garden of Eden. We battled the opponent, not people. We overcame the illusion that there are people out there that can cause us to behave the way we behave. No, they do what they do. It's our free will, tree of knowledge, tree of life. Every time you're feeling challenged, you have that same choice as we did collectively in the beings of Adam and Eve. Somebody says something triggers you, you're starting to feel angry, you have the choice if you'll stop and think about it. Be in the tree of knowledge, good and evil, just create chaos, scream, yell, fight, and bite, into gratification, and then chaos. Or you can choose the tree of life, greater love, kindness, and compassion. And as a reminder, that doesn't mean you hang out with them, doesn't mean you're saying what they did is good, doesn't mean that you're exempting them from their karma, or what we call tikkun. No. What I do brings back to me equally. What you do comes back to you equally. What they did, what they said, how they acted will come back to them. Each of us have our own cycle, if you will, our own wheel, our own circuit of cause and effect. Yes, in the moment, like right now, we're in this moment together. But even though we're together now, it's still what I put out into the cosmos is what comes back to me. What you put out right now and moving forward into the cosmos is what will come back to you. So yes, we're in a common situation, like on Mount Sinai. We are common, we can support each other. The purpose of Spiritual Sunday is to inspire you by understanding greater depth and wisdom of the technology of the soul, which is the only thing common to every human being on earth. The only thing. One God, one soul. We're extended, if you will, stretched out into, as we call it, the spiritual internet, 8.5 billion bodies, but it's still the same technology. You use it your way, I use it my way, I make my choices, you make yours, they make theirs. Everybody makes a choice, but their choices are what create their life. Our choices, this life and past lives, what put us where we are right now and determine how our life looks right now. But as you take responsibility, as you claim your creator nature over your opponent nature, you can remodel, if you will, your life back into its original God-meant purpose, objective, peace, harmony, heaven on earth, if you will, the return to the Garden of Eden. So as we said, on Mount Sinai, we were there. We were in oneness. We were in unity. Like Adam and Eve. There was one being split into Adam and Eve. But in that moment, they still saw. They knew with absolute certainty they were one soul. If you will, halves of that one vessel, that one soul. But to have free will, we had to implant into our brain that opponent. That program of opposition. Don't share, seek to take. Don't be like the Creator, seek to just get what you want right now, and especially with the influence of the five-sense physical world. So here we were back on Mount Sinai. At that moment, we had purified ourselves. The world collectively had come to the level where we were capable, on the verge of immortality on earth, as Adam and Eve, before we separated from the tree of life. So we were there. But what happened? The same thing. We listened to that opponent. And all the details, and I don't want to, we could go on for a long time to discuss the details, but in simplest terms, we gave in to the opponent who justified and rationalized in our head why we needed to build the golden calf. And when was that? Remember the 6 hours we mentioned in the Garden of Eden? Same 6 hours. 6 hours before the 40-day period, we thought that Moses was going to go up into the heavens, come down with the 2 tablets, physical tablets, that would manifest. I like to think of it as the hardened cement. Right now it was kind of wet, it was moldable, and when he came down, that would have been it. Finished immortality, peace, love, and kindness to the whole world. And in those 6 hours, we allowed the AI program to rabble-rouse us to say, no, 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 no. let's make the golden calf because we need someone, something to tell us what to do. Simple terms. And in those 6 hours, okay, we gave in, and again, in essence, chose the tree of knowledge, good and evil. Chose chaos and 5 senses and instant gratification and desire to receive oneself alone over long-term, eternal bliss, heaven on earth, the actions of sharing, acting like the Creator, absolute clarity and certainty. So, our job since then, 3,400 years, is to rebuild the vessel, the container that will manifest immortality. And so from this point forward, yes, even though today there's an opening of the cosmos tonight, true, we can make greater access of that support. But as we'll talk about, we are now in the 6-hour window. But first, let's think about it. How do we access, you and me today in practical terms in the world as it is, how do we access immortality? Okay. Before we ask that, let's ask ourselves, what's blocking immortality? If the Creator put in the one vessel that's now extended on our spiritual internet, if the Creator put in essence in our soul, inside of us and each of us, eternal life, the light of immortality, heaven on earth, if it's inside of us, just waiting to shine out, then we have to ask ourselves, what's blocking immortality? What's blocking that light from going out of us? Anything that's not light-like behavior. Anything that's not love, kindness, compassion, generosity, humility, gratitude, forgiveness, tolerance. Fear takes us away from the light. Anger, jealousy, judgment, greed, as Karen even said, insecurity, low self-esteem, a sense of unworthiness, a sense of undeservingness. And remember, that doesn't mean externally having or not having. People can have a lot. They can look very successful on the outside and still be insecure and a sense of unworthiness, which is why they will not have true blessings from all their physical, material resources. And then on the other side, there are also people who may not have all the physical, material things that we generally look for on the outside, and yet on the inside, they're letting more of their light come out. They're connecting more to their light. So they're happy. They feel blessed. They feel content. There's a story of one of the great Kabbalists, Rav Zusha, who on the outside, it looked like he was living in a low hovel, that he had a tough life, this and this. So a man came to his teacher, the Baal Shem Tov, and was asking the Baal Shem Tov, how do you deal with chaos in your life? Because this man is having chaos. Said, oh, go talk to my student, my disciple, Rav Zusha. So he goes to Rav Zusha, he sees his house, looks like a little hovel, knocks on the door. Rav Zusha opens the door and he says, hi, my name is whatever, John. Your teacher sent me to you to understand how to deal with chaos and difficulty and confusion in life. And Rav Zusha is looking at him a little puzzled. He says, my master sent you to me? He says, yeah, I mean, I can kind of see. He says, how do you deal with the chaos? And Rav Zusha looks and says, my master sent you to me to ask about that? And went up for like whatever, a minute or two. And finally Rav Zusha looks and says, I don't know. He says, I can't tell you how to deal with chaos and confusion because I don't have any. The lesson being, Rav Zusha was able to see the light in everything, appreciate the light in everything, connect to and share the light in every way, shape, or form, in every experience of his life. So he was always experiencing the light of the Creator. And in the light, there's no chaos and confusion. Even you say, because I hear some of you, but he had difficulty. Let's say he was living, hand to mouth kind of thing. Yes, but he had no chaos. He had no confusion. He understood because he was connected to the light. Okay. Externally, he's got to do something to get food, clothing, and shelter, let's say. but it wasn't stressful. It wasn't creating chaos, because he saw, maybe let's say he could see in his life or in his spiritual eyes, maybe he saw his past lives, what he had done, this and this and this. So he was just connecting to the light, channeling the light, and accepting everything as an opportunity to fix his mistakes like you and I need to do, and just stay connected to the light all the time. And when the light is flowing all the time, you feel happy, joyous, blissful, even while you're handling the challenges. Yes. So how is immortality empowered? What's the essence of immortality? Shining our light 24/7, like Rav Zusha, like all the great Kabbalists throughout history. Just channeling the light, which is why they had, as Rav Zusha, they had no chaos. They had no pain and suffering. Yes, externally, as people may have seen them, they had difficulties, some of them also externally looked like they had all the good things in life. Looked like they had no external lack. But still, even that, how many people do you know who have a lot of things physically, materially, and they're still not settled, not happy, not peaceful inside? So it's not the external that determines. We say consciousness is everything. It's the internal that decides. So as you're channeling light all the time, then there can be no darkness. And if there's no darkness and there's just a revelation of light, that's eternal life. One very important piece of that, essential piece, which is also related to the event 3,400 years ago of Mount Sinai, which we want to copy to take greatest advantage of the lesson that it taught us and the code that's been unlocked by the Zohar and what we learn and teach here in the Kabbalah Center and on Spiritual Sunday. The essence of eternal life and eternal peace and serenity is what, unfortunately, people have misunderstood, even though they say it, but it's the essence of what true love your neighbor as yourself is. What does that mean? Love your neighbor as yourself. Let's start simple. Love your neighbor as yourself means that I'm accepting, I am totally in control and responsible for the shape of my life. Every action I've ever done, everything that I've ever done, this life or past life, has molded the light that's given to each of us residing in our soul, has molded that light externally as whatever our life looks like. Because if a person acts with jealousy or insecurity, ego, greed, sense of poverty and lack, jealousy, whatever, anger, they're molding their light into some form of chaos. It's not the light making the chaos. It's the way we use the light. Like we always say, electricity. You can use the electricity to light your lights, to run your refrigerators, and even the computers and things like that. Or a person can choose to use the electricity to harm other people or even harm themselves. It doesn't change the electricity. It doesn't mean the electricity is bad. When you talk about the light of the Creator, it's only good. So unfortunately, even the misuse of the light through anger and jealousy and greed and all those negative behaviors ultimately will come out as good, because eventually, and we're pretty close to that now, I think, hopefully, where people will feel the pain of their actions, the pain of their own negativity, and that will lead to the good of deciding, no, it's my life, my actions determine what come back to me, so I want my actions to be greater love and kindness, generosity, humility, forgiveness, apology, gratitude, blessings. That's what, unfortunately, pain and suffering will do, has done, and is getting very intense now. So you and I want to wake up, because the other aspect of love your neighbor as yourself, and that's the key. People throw it out there and don't understand what it means as yourself. Some, and I've heard people say, oh, love your neighbor as yourself. So they have to first find new ways, bigger ways to love themselves, and then they can love others. No, it doesn't say love yourself and then love others. It says love yourself, love your neighbor as yourself. Not love yourself, then you'll love your neighbor as yourself, meaning simultaneously, which you and me, simple, shine your light 24/7, because it means I see in my eyes, as even the Kabbalists write, the Zohar says, the eyes of my heart. In the eyes of my heart, I come to see there's only me in the universe, in my world. From your point of view, there's only you. As all the great Kabbalists teach us, everyone and everything that we perceive outside of us is a reflection of me. And therefore there's me, and everything I do determines how my world will look. Everything you do will determine how your world will look. So today, wake up, because we want to accelerate that process. The faster you and I decide we're going to behave with greater love, kindness, and compassion. We're going to open our eyes, not only, let's say, our physical eyes, as we said, the eyes of our heart. Unblock the eyes of your heart so that you'll see, yes, everything is a reflection of me, and you'll be able to see how to take greatest advantage of that. Because this is the most powerful way. Think of a mirror, right? If you're looking in a mirror, you're getting dressed, you have an important meeting or whatever it is, you want to look your best in all ways. The hair, the makeup, if you wear makeup, blah, 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 the clothing. You look in the mirror. Why do you look in the mirror? To get a reflection, to get a glimpse of how you look. So if something's out of place, you can fix it because you want your best appearance for this meeting. So how much more when it comes to our soul? So the way it's set up, everyone and everything is a mirror of me. So if I look at it that way, even though the mirror, so to speak, looks like other people, looks like outside things, I have to see it as me. And how do we learn that? So if I look at somebody, if a person looks at somebody and judges them as controlling, oh, this is a controlling person, they have to look in themselves how control shows up in their life. Not the way the other person shows it up. How does it show up in their life? If they judge somebody as insecure, fearful, look inside themselves. How are they fearful? How are they acting insecure? How are they acting judgmental? How are they acting in a jealous way? How are they acting, with drama or blame or victimization? Whatever we look at outside, like in the mirror, whatever you see in the mirror, we know easy in the physical world is the reflection of me. The spiritual world, open the eyes of your heart more. That's what love really is about. Open the eyes of your heart and you'll see everything is a reflection of you. And when you dig in to see where that piece of your spiritual connection is out of place, like the hair is messed up or the clothes don't match, then you can fix it. As long as the opponent makes a person point outside, they'll stay constantly in that chaos, that confusion, and the pain and suffering, but they won't have a sense that it's really in their control because that voice in their head made them blame the other person. It's their fault and the things they said or did that made the person feel bad in whatever way. No, take responsibility. Like we said last week, just awakening, and go back to last week's Spiritual Sunday. If you want to get back to immortality, one, ask, how fast do you want to get back? How much, how strong is your desire to have immortality, peace, harmony, joy? Yes, even as you continue to fix your mistakes. Don't you want to be peaceful and serene as you go through that? Don't you want to be clear on what you need to do to take away your spiritual mud? Don't you want to speed up the process? Yes. This is the most powerful way to accelerate our getting back to the Garden of Eden. At least individually. At least individually. Love your neighbor as yourself. What did we talk about last week? What is that immortality? What is that clarity? What are those solutions? What is that sense of lasting peace and harmony and joy and happiness and all the blessings of the light, what is it worth to you? Is it worth overcoming your illusionary, justified, rationalized anger at somebody because they did something? And we're not denying what they did. What we're learning is what came from that was up to you. Your response determined what came back to you, not what they did. That's the difference. So, is your anger worth not having? A sense of peace and serenity that lasts, clarity, guidance on how to move more and more onto the path of the light, removing the garbage, the spiritual mud we often call it, to be on the path of light. Lasting blessings, not temporary, lasting towards eternal. How about insecurity, jealousy, greed, sense of lack, poverty, judgment? Are those worth more to you than immortality? True, lasting health, peace, love, prosperity, protection? You decide. That's what we spoke about last week. The only one who determines what value anything is to you is you. Nobody determines the value of things in your life but you. Unconsciously, reactive behavior, the person is basically saying instant gratification is more valuable than long-term peace and harmony. That instant sense of I'm right, but then greater chaos and more challenges is worth more than maybe a little bit of discomfort in the moment by shining light instead of darkness, but in the long term, greater peace and harmony. That is what we want to wake up and realize is true value. Why? Because there is a deadline, and I'll just give it to you briefly. Essentially, we are in that same 6 hours, the 6 hours of you and me as Adam and Eve, the same 6 hours at Mount Sinai. We are now on a cosmic grand scale in the last 6 hours, which is why we can see, as the Zohar told us 2,000 years ago in its written form, there's so much intense chaos, discord, divisiveness, hatred, anger, violence, because the deadline is coming. We're in the last 6 hours. And because on a grand scheme, this is the last of the last 6 hours, it's now or now. There's no now or never. Has to be. So, as the Kabbalists write, there's only two things that motivate people to change. Is either an awakening and awareness of the blessings and the reward, as we talk about, for being of greater love, kindness, and compassion, greater generosity, humility, forgiveness, apology, and tolerance, or enough pain and suffering. When the pain and suffering is overwhelming, people will change. People will give in to their soul. That's it. That's it. One or the other. So we have to decide, which do we want? I don't think any of us on a conscious level would choose pain and suffering to be overwhelming to change. Let's decide now. Like so many people, look at the world in general. Oh, prevent trouble. Whatever that means. I mean, for years and years and years, all of this life, I've heard people say, yes, they want to work to have a pension. They want to work to, save money, put it in whatever, all these savings accounts. So as they get older and they want to stop working, they'll have money and whatever. People now talking about preventative medicine, preventative things. So in order to avoid the trouble, do things now that, not always comfortable. People have to give up, whatever. So time maybe to do diet and exercise, things like that. They have to look at things differently, etc., etc. Even to do business, you got to give up in some way, shape, or form, whatever. 40 hours a week, 80 hours a week, 20 hours a week, whatever you work, you're giving up time that you could be out at the beach, playing ping pong, sitting, watching TV, whatever. There's a bit, if you will, of discomfort, for even in the 1% physical material world, the desire for more good things. So how much more spiritually? This is why there's a saying cosmically, Kabbalistically, that the end will come be'ita achishena, meaning, as it says, in its time, I will speed it up. So the Kabbalists ask, wait a second, what does that mean? Essentially, it means either it can come through, heaven forbid, tremendous pain and suffering to the end of those 6 hours, or we can speed it up by what we're talking about today, what the center teaches us, how to voluntarily challenge ourselves to be more loving, kind, compassionate, caring, forgiving, generous, humble, tolerant. That's it. So yes, I would encourage you, if you're watching this now, you can take advantage of the cosmic window that's open tonight, or wherever you may be, Sunday night till Monday night. Take advantage of that. How do you do it? Yes, send light. Just be a channel of light. Think of the people you don't like, people that hurt you, whatever it is, just meditate, as we will do with our meditation today, as we always do every week, but just beam a beacon of light out of your heart and soul towards those people and through them to the whole world. That's it. It's a very simple concept. Light takes away darkness. And so if you beam the light of the Creator out of your heart and soul into those areas that are currently appearing to be darkness, chaos, confusion, the light transforms the darkness, takes away that darkness, and illuminates and manifests the blessings of the light of the Creator that are sitting inside all of us as potential waiting to be made manifest in actuality. So I want you and me to get back to the Garden of Eden as fast as possible, making up for the mistakes that we've made over all the lifetimes and this lifetime, to be united again as one soul. So moving forward, and we said we're in the 6 hours, every day is possible. Let's all take time daily to meditate on being that beacon of light towards all humanity, as we say in our affirmation. Stop the chaos. We can end all the darkness by simply doing what every one of us came here to earth to do. Shine the light of the Creator from our heart and soul, imitating the Creator itself that just shines light 24/7 to the pieces of our soul, because it's one, that reside in our vision in all the other bodies on earth. We shine that light, the darkness goes away. We defeat, in this unity of this, in the accumulation of greater revelation of light, we defeat the opponent in our head. Ultimately, we defeat the angel of death and transform it to the angel of life that it was in the Garden of Eden, giving us eternal life till we disconnected from the light. So as we reconnect ourselves, not only individually, but collectively, my point of view, I connect to all of my soul by shining light to the whole world. From your point of view, shining light to the whole world. And then as we unite in that, we achieve a tipping point, the critical mass of light that will remove all the darkness. The angel of death will become the angel of life. We will see that the only enemy we have or ever have had since the beginning of time is that opponent, that negative voice in our head, not other people. I bless us now, you and me, to flip the switch in our heart from the desire to receive for oneself alone to the actions of channeling the light 24/7, freeing our heart and soul to go out into the world and to give us all the blessings of the Creator for now and eternally. God bless. So we're going to do our meditation, but I also want to make sure once again to remind you or to thank you, those of you that donate, I put the link to share. If you appreciate what you get here, help us speed up the process. And the most powerful way, Zohar. Zohar just means light. Faster we share the books of the Zohar, and we have, I want to let you know, we have achieved our goal of over 1 million that have been given out now all around the world. And we're going now onto our next 1 million. The Rav used to tell us, only takes one Zohar to bring the end of pain, suffering, and death. So if we don't see the end of chaos yet, that means there's at least one more Zohar to go out. With your help, we can accelerate that process. So yes, open your heart, the love in your heart, the sense of unity. Love your neighbors yourself. Support the mission of the center to bring this wisdom, which will give people the understanding of the power of the Zohar, and then the spread of the books of the Zohar to bring so much light we all see clearly. The blessing of doing the proactive sharing things and the negativity of doing something reactive. When there's light in the cosmos, we'll all see the blessings of sharing and the detriment of trying to get, being reactive. So the link is there. Yes, please just whatever you give with your heart, but give. If you're watching, obviously you feel there's a value, and to keep the essence of that value is to share. This is one of the 72 names of God, NUN YUD TAV. Those of you not familiar, but I believe most of you are, well, you see in front of you the Hebrew Aramaic letters, just particles of the light of the Creator. They just shine light. And therefore, the eyes being the window to the soul, as you let the light channel through your eyes, it awakens more and more of the light of God inside you. This particular combination, frequencies, these 3 frequencies of the light of the Creator, as they unite, NUN YUD TAV, what's called the death of death, the end of pain, suffering, and death and chaos. This is what we want to awaken now and help us accelerate that process inside us. And like will attract like, we'll start getting more and more people waking up their soul to the oneness of humanity and the blessings of acting like the Creator and not like their opponent. So just look, NUN YUD TAV. Let it be engraved in your mind's eye. Remember the names, NUN YUD TAV. If I can ask you, sitting comfortably in your seat, feet flat on the floor, hands in your lap. Taking a few deep breaths. Breathing in the light through your nose. Holding the breath for a moment. Exhale through the mouth. Creating a greater, more conscious circulation of the light of God that's in the breath that we breathe. Breathing in the light through the nose. Hold the breath for a moment that the light circulates from head to toe, spiritually and physically inside you. And as you exhale through the mouth, letting go of anything that's not light-like in your life, in your thoughts, in your actions. And allowing yourself to relax into the infinite light of the Creator. Infinite that it fills the entire universe. Infinite that we consciously acknowledge we are all immersed in that light, and it fills every cell of our being physically and spiritually. There is no lack. There's just what we've blocked, and now we're unblocking. Allow yourself to feel the warmth and the embrace of the light of the Creator and true unconditional love. And the more we feel that unconditional love that the Creator shines on us 24/7 by shining its light, the more we are awakened to do the same. Shine our light 24/7, unconditionally, particularly into the areas we perceive as darkness, chaos, discord, pain, obstacles, challenges. That we remove the darkness and manifest our light in our life that also protects us from darkness and negativity. So let's see the NUN YUD TAV just above our heads. A beam of light, metaphorically from the upper worlds, shining down on the NUN YUD TAV, activating its capability to be conduits, to channel this light of immortality. And now let the NUN YUD TAV enter through the top of your heads, awakening the immortal aspect of the light of the Creator inside you. Let the NUN YUD TAV circulate inside you from head to toe, activating the immortality of your soul that resides in every cell of your physical being, every part of your physical body, and ultimately in every part of the universe. Particularly, pay attention to the NUN YUD TAV as it's activating the light in your heart. Unconditional love. And the NUN YUD TAV in your head that's activating the thoughts of the Creator of your soul. The value of love your neighbor over any instant gratification. The thoughts of forgiveness, love, tolerance, gratitude. Also trust in the light in your soul. And that we're all worthy and deserving of the greatest blessings of the Creator. It's being given to us. Our spiritual work is to let it shine out of us into our lives and into the world. So as you have the NUN YUD TAV in your head, that is your thoughts, in your heart, that is your soul, true love, unconditional love. Let us beam together the light of NUN YUD TAV from our heart and soul and our mind out to the heart and soul and mind of all our friends and family, and through them out to all people on earth. And make a conscious effort to channel that light to the hearts and souls of people you've had issues with, challenges with. That you're waking up their God heart, God soul, God mind to be a greater influence, that they also will change their behavior to greater love, kindness, compassion. Let us see together the world surrounded in light and all people waking up and living their godlike existence. That there's peace on earth, unity and oneness. The willingness and the desire to share light, to be like the Creator, and to return to heaven on earth, the Garden of Eden, as one unified soul. As you're channeling this light, particularly into those dark spots, listen to the voice of your soul as it guides you, inspires you. Where else to focus an intense beam of light? What actions, what words to share with others as you're beaming this light to them? And setting this pattern of being a beacon of light 24/7 as you move forward every day of your life, in every part of your life. To be a pure conduit of the light of the Creator from the endless through you and me and all of us in unity out to all the world. Feel the peace and serenity that comes with the light. Engrave this sensation, this feeling, this vision into your heart, soul, and mind for greater strength to move forward and upward in your spiritual growth, your spiritual paths. And together we take one more deep breath to anchor it in, solidify it within us. And as you exhale, slowly opening your eyes. Thank you for joining us. Again, may we all be blessed to speed up the process of removing all of our spiritual mud, letting our true God-like beingness shine into the world more and more, attracting more and more people to this wisdom, to this technology, that we don't have to wait till the end of the 6 hours, cosmically, for the end of pain, suffering, and death. But we could make it happen now, this year, with all of us working harder and harder at our spiritual growth and attracting more people to do the same, as like will attract like. Have a great week, a great evening, till we see each other again. God bless. Thank you for joining us. If you liked what you saw, click the subscribe button so you'll be notified of future videos as we post them. Would also love to hear your comments and questions, whether it's about this video in particular or about the wisdom of Kabbalah as we teach it in the Kabbalah Center. If you'd like to learn more about various subjects, go to our website, www.kabbalah.com. We have thousands of articles and classes on various subjects within the wisdom of Kabbalah. Share this video with other people. If you were inspired and it can change your life, let's start changing thousands and thousands of people's lives around the world also. If you'd like to contribute in support of Spiritual Sunday and the projects of the Kabbalah Center, that link is also below. I wish you an amazing day, afternoon, evening, wherever you may be out there, and may God bless us all that we awaken the light of the Creator not only inside us to a higher level, but touching the heart and soul of every human being on earth with the light of the Creator.